guys, welcome to episode 8 of In the Virtual Garden with Mrs. Bowers. Today we are going to be discussing two topics. One is a review for you, and it is the basic plant parts that start to emerge when seeds start to germinate. So we're going to quickly go through those, and I'll put that up on the screen. Boop. There we go. Okay, so the basic plant parts, we know roots, but when we're talking about it in its immature phase or stage, we're talking about it as the radicle. Remember the R's that connect. The other part, we give a general name to something called the shoot, and the shoot includes the leaves or those primary leaves, also known as the cotyledon. The plumule is another term that we use, and we talked about when we talked about seed anatomy way back when. And also the hypocotyl and epicotyl that will make up the soon to be mature stem. So those are the basic plant parts. So we've got the root, which is referred to as the radicle. We have the shoot, which includes the primary or the immature leaves, not the true leaves, so the cotyledon or plumule. And then we also have the stem, which is a part of the shoot, which has the two parts, the hypocotyl and epicotyl. Okay, so keep those things in mind as we talk about this new topic. This new topic that we're going to be talking about is called gravitropism. It's kind of a strange word, definitely not something that we use in our everyday language. The term can also be referred to as geotropism. So the definition of gravitropism is a plant's movement or growth in response to the stimulus of gravity. Okay? And so we are going to be setting up an experiment today, and we're going to be having our video run a teeny bit different from the other videos that we've had. I'm going to be asking you to pause along the way during the video to do your assignment during the times of pause. Okay? So gravitropism. There's actually two forms of gravitropism. There is positive gravitropism, which, get a little tongue twister there, gravitropism. Positive gravitropism means that the plants are growing towards gravity, that pull to the center of the earth. Negative gravitropism is that other plant parts will be growing away or for the opposite direction of gravity. So the experiment that we are going to set up today will hopefully be able to demonstrate that point. So we are going to be setting up this experiment. And like I said, I'm going to be asking you to pause along the way. There are 3 pauses. 1 is to make a prediction. 2 is to make some observations. And 3 is to use the information from this part of the video to help you with an explanation of what you were seeing in the observations and to say if your prediction was supported or not. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little experiment this time. Just before we get to our experiment, I just want to go over a few details about gravitropism. This term tropism is a term that refers to stimuli or stimulus or something that a plant can respond to. So you should be familiar with that end of that term, tropism, because in episode 4, we talked about phototropism, and that was a plant's response to light. Photo, that prefix photo is in reference to light. Grava is the prefix to reference gravity. So just like in phototropism, gravitropism also deals with that chemical called auxin. And in the case of roots or the radicle, the bottom of the root, called the root cap, has a bunch of these little cells called statocytes. And those statocytes contain something called statoliths, which are these little particles that when they are being affected by gravity, they stimulate the production of that auxin, which will stimulate that root to grow down towards that gravity in whichever direction it is, whether it's down or up or to the side, depending on how the seed is positioned. That auxin again comes into play and will cause those roots to grow towards the gravity. Okay, so to set up our experiment, we have a piece of paper towel folded in half. Okay, the good stuff, not like school paper towel. We need a plastic container or tub that has a little bit of water in it and a clear picture frame. The first thing that we're going to do is to take the paper towel and soak it into the water. Okay, give that a soak, squeeze it out a little bit so it's easier to work with. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is start to line them up on this paper towel going across. So I line them up like this. Okay, then I slipped it into the photo case like this, or photo frame. Okay, and notice that I have some that's hanging out extra. This hanging out extra is going to be so that when I put it into the tub of water, that it will actually be submerged somewhat. So we use that capillary action or that wicking action that we've talked about before to allow the water to go up and keep these seeds damp. What do you think the plant part is going to be that will first emerge from these seeds, and which direction do you think they are going to start to grow? So I want you to stop the video and enter the information under predict. What is your prediction about what will happen? Number one, what part of the plant is going to start to emerge? And two, which direction? All right, guys, so this is the experiment that we set up. It has been going for about 2 days, and I want you to take a closer look, and I'll try to zoom in as much as I can, to take a look at what plant part that we discussed has emerged from this seed or all these seeds. So take a pretty close look and notice something about, make those observations about what's happening, especially in this one here. Look at that. It's even making a turn. Look at this one here. This guy, we only had about just this one here, hasn't emerged yet. So what I want you to do is pause the video and write down your observations about what you're seeing with these seeds. Yes. So now we're at our last part, the explanation. So here I want you to think back, and if you have to rewind, that's fine, but I want you to think back to the terms that we talked about before we set up our experiment. Gravitropism, positive gravitropism. What plant part emerged out of these seeds first? Thinking back to those terms like hypocotyl, epicotyl, radical. What is the part that's emerging first, and in which direction were those parts traveling or growing? So think about that. Think about what you're seeing in here and how our experiment was set up. We had that water down at the bottom. We have the seeds suspended. So think about that and pull it all together using those terms in your explanation. Okay, I can't wait to see. Make sure that you fill out your Google form. Make sure that you hit mark as done. And I will see you next episode. Bye, guys.